Stop what you're doing, because what we're about to talk about will change the whole past of the Brown family. We have seen a mixed family slowly and painfully fall apart for more than 10 years. The information we just got, on the other hand, could not have been prepared for whatever reason. You were wrong to think that the split was the end of the story. The split was just the beginning. Right now, the real story is happening, the one that Kody and Robyn Brown are said to have been scared would get out. We are looking at the dawn of the OG3 reunion, and the fallout is allegedly nuclear. The picture needs to be talked about. You may have seen the blurry, low-resolution picture going around in the fan forums by now. This is the picture that major media outlets haven't touched yet because they're afraid of what it could mean legally. But here at Coco Gossip, we look at the facts. The image reportedly shows a private high-security event in Flagstaff, a bridal shower. But this wasn't just any wedding shower. According to people who know, this is when the balance of power changed forever. The picture shows three women: Christine, radiant and laughing. Janelle is softer and happy than she has been in 20 years. And the third woman? That is the impact. That is the detail that has supposedly caused a meltdown inside the mansion on the hill. The third woman holding a champagne glass, raising a toast, and locked in a tearful, tight hug with Janelle, is Mary Brown. Let that sink in. Mary Brown, the woman who was meant to be the loyal soldier. The woman Robyn Brown has kept in her back pocket for years as a shield against the others. The woman Kody cast aside, but expected to stay in his orbit like a forgotten satellite. Seeing Mary standing shoulder to shoulder with Christine and Janelle, united in happiness, is not just a reunion. It is an act of rebellion. It is a statement of war against the narrative that Robyn has carefully crafted since day one. We are going to deconstruct exactly how this happened, why Robyn was supposedly stopped at the gate, and the speech Mary gave that insiders are calling the smoking gun that finally exposes the manipulation of the last decade. To understand the seriousness of this moment, we have to look at the timeline. Sources close to the production have whispered for months that Janelle's new relationship is moving fast, much faster than the show is letting us to see. There have been rumors of a wedding, a new life, and a desire to totally scrub the sister wife's identity from her future. But the question has always been, what happens to the family? Kody has spent seasons telling us that these women hate each other. He has spun a story that Christine was the villain, that Janelle was the traitor, and that Mary was the pathetic victim who needed Kody's breadcrumbs. This picture destroys that story. If Mary is there cheering for Janelle, hugging Janelle, it means the split isn't between the wives anymore. The split is between the women and the man who tried to control them. Let's dig into the bridal shower concept. According to leaks coming from a source adjacent to the event planning team, this wasn't shot for the show. This is important. TLC cameras were supposedly not present. This was an off-the-books gathering planned with military precision to ensure that Kody and Robyn did not find out until it was too late. The theme was supposedly freedom, a direct jab at the oppressive atmosphere of Flagstaff. But the guest list is what counts. We are hearing that Janelle's new partner, a man we are going to discuss in depth later, was crucial in this. He didn't just want a party for Janelle. He allegedly wanted to help heal the wounds of the past. He reportedly encouraged Janelle to reach out to Mary. Now, pause and think about the past here. Janelle and Mary have had one of the most toxic, tough relationships in reality TV history. They have fought over kitchens, over parenting, over personality clashes for 30 years. For Mary to not only be invited, but to show up and for them to be photographed hugging suggests a level of healing that is truly terrifying for Kody Brown. Why? Because Kody's power rested on them being divided. He relied on triangulation. He would tell Mary that Janelle didn't care about her. He would tell Janelle that Mary was tough. As long as they were fighting, he was the king. But if they have compared notes, if Janelle and Mary have sat down without cameras and actually talked about what Robyn and Kody did to them, that is the end of Kody's rule. Our research into this event suggests that Mary's presence wasn't just a casual drop-in. Insider theory suggests this was a calculated move by Mary to signal her total defection from Team Robyn. For years, we watched Robyn exploit Mary. We saw Robyn asking Mary to hang on with me, giving her false hope about a reconciliation with Kody that Robyn knew was never going to happen. Robyn needed Mary there to be the victim, to be the buffer. As long as Mary was around, Robyn wasn't the only wife. so she didn't have to deal with Kody's full passion alone. Robyn banked on Mary's loneliness. She banked on Mary having nowhere else to go. But look at the picture again. The body language study is striking. Mary isn't shrinking in the corner. She isn't wearing the heavy guarded look we see on the show. She looks free. Reports from the event say that the champagne toast was the turning point. We are hearing whispers of a speech that wasn't written by producers, but came from the heart. We will get to the exact words of that speech in a moment. But first, we have to address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the elephant outside the gate. While the OG3 were inside, toasting to a new future. What was happening at the edge of the property? This is where the story goes from a heartwarming reunion into a high-stakes drama. We have heard reports that Robyn Brown was not unaware of this party. In fact, sources say she found out about it the morning of the event. Imagine the scene inside the McMansion. The understanding that the pink elephant in the room was being ignored. Robyn, who has always prided herself on being the counselor, the communicator, the one who speaks Kody, was reportedly furious that she was excluded. The story Robyn has been pushing for the last 2 seasons is that she is the victim. She wanted the porch dream. She wanted a big family. She says the other wives rejected her. So, according to our exclusive theories, Robyn saw this party as a chance to crash the narrative. We are getting reports that a vehicle matching the description of Robyn's car was spotted approaching the venue's entrance. The purpose likely to drop off a gift or offer congratulations. A classic passive-aggressive move to place herself into a moment that wasn't about her. She likely assumed that if she showed up, societal pressure would force them to let her in. She expected them to be polite. She expected them to crumble. But this is the new OG3. This isn't the family of 5 years ago. We are hearing that security at the venue had a strict list and one name was clearly flagged. Robyn Brown. Can you imagine the humiliation? The chosen wife, the legal wife, the woman who controls the family funds, being stopped by a security guard and told she is not welcome. This is the moment the victim's story collapsed. You cannot claim you are being bullied when you are actively trying to invade a private event you weren't asked to. This refusal at the gate is symbolic of everything that is happening to Robyn right now. She is on the outside looking in. Let's return to the party inside the gates, where the mood was electric. The betrayal that we outlined earlier is important here. Robyn didn't just lose a sister wife and Mary. She lost her power. We have to understand why Mary flipped. Why now? For years, Mary stayed. She stayed through the catfish, she stayed through the breakup, she stayed through the Barnuminium exile. Why is Janelle's wedding the catalyst? Our investigative view is that Janelle's new partner played a massive role. But more importantly, Mary finally saw the truth about Robyn's bond. There is a rumor circulating that prior to this party, Mary found evidence, perhaps a text thread, perhaps a financial document, we don't know for sure, that proved Robyn was actively working against Mary's reconciliation with Kody behind the scenes. If this idea holds water, it explains the tears in the photo. Those aren't just tears of joy for Janelle. They are tears of freedom. Mary is mourning the years she wasted trusting the wrong woman. When she hugged Janelle, she was embracing the woman she should have been united with all along. The champagne toast described in our hook is the visual representation of this shift. In the picture, they are raising their glasses high. In the background, you can allegedly see a banner. It doesn't say just married, it supposedly says new beginnings. This is significant. It suggests that this isn't just about Janelle's romance, it's about the 3 of them surviving the Kody Brown experience. They are survivors of a shared horror. And nothing bonds people faster than learning they all survived the same narcissist. The insiders describing the scene say that for the first hour, the tension was obvious. Everyone was waiting to see if the old patterns would surface. Would Mary make a sarcastic comment? Would Janelle shut down? Would Christine try to overmanage the situation? But then, the booze flowed, the music started, and the walls came down. This brings us to the smoking gun. The moment that has Kody Brown allegedly pacing the floors of his home in a rage. Mary asked to speak. Now, generally when Mary speaks in the family gatherings, it's guarded. It's defensive. But this time, standing in front of Janelle, Christine, and their closest friends, Mary allegedly didn't hold back. She didn't look at the floor. She looked at her former sister's wives, and she delivered lines that strike at the very heart of the patriarchy they just left. She talked about time. She talked about the cash of their lives that they spent trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. We are going to dig into the specifics of that speech and the gate incident involving Robyn in just a moment. But you have to understand the risks here. If this partnership is real, if the OG3 are truly united, Kody has lost his show. He has lost his plot. He has lost his power. And a man like Kody Brown does not take a loss of control quietly. We are seeing signs of his instability on social media, which we will study. But the real story is the silence of the women. They aren't posting rants. They aren't protecting themselves. They are just living. And that is the most dangerous thing they could do to him. Let's go back inside that room. We need to dissect the moment that has supposedly caused shockwaves through the entire production team at TLC. We are talking about the smoking gun, the speech that Meri Brown gave at Janelle's wedding shower. According to multiple independent sources who have pieced together stories from attendees, the music died down, and Meri tapped a spoon against her champagne glass. Now, normally a toast at a Brown family event is a trap. It's usually filled with awkward pauses, passive-aggressive digs, or forced tears about the big picture. But this was different. Witnesses described Meri as calm, grounded, and for the first time in years, truly sober in her focus. She allegedly looked at Janelle and Christine and said, "We wasted so much time trying to make one person happy. Now it is time to make ourselves happy." On the surface, that sounds like a standard empowerment slogan. But you have to read between the lines. You have to understand the specific language of the Brown family cult. One person. She didn't say the family. She didn't say our husbands. She said one guy. This is a direct, obvious reference to Kody Brown. For 3 decades, these women were conditioned to think that their happiness was secondary to Kody's ego. They were told that if Kody was smiling, the celestial kingdom was secure. Meri just shattered that doctrine in a single line. Our analysis of this speech shows that Meri has finally reached the indifferent stage of grief. She isn't angry anymore. She's done. And that is far more dangerous for Kody. Anger suggests attachment. Indifference suggests freedom. By acknowledging that they wasted time, Meri is validating Janelle and Christine's choice to leave. She is admitting that the sacred loneliness she suffered for years wasn't a spiritual test. It was a waste. And seeing Janelle nod in agreement, seeing Christine wipe a tear, that visual confirms the creation of a united front. The OG3 are no longer 3 separate people fighting for scraps of affection. They are a collective survivor strategy. But while this mental breakthrough was happening inside, the situation at the perimeter was deteriorating. We promised we would expose the gate incident, and the details we are getting are explosive. When Robyn's vehicle was reportedly stopped by private security, she didn't just turn around and leave. Sources suggest that there was a confrontation. Robyn allegedly pulled the "Do you know who I am" card. She reportedly tried to claim that she was on the list, that there must be a mistake, that she was family. When the security team held firm, likely under strict instructions from Janelle's camp, Robyn's demeanor allegedly shifted from confusion to victimhood immediately. We have heard reports that Robyn made a frantic phone call from inside her car parked just outside the venue. Who did she call? Kody, obviously. But here is the twist. Kody couldn't do anything. For the first time, Kody had zero authority. This wasn't his house. This wasn't a TLC set. This was private property rented by Janelle's new group. And Kody Brown had no power to force entry for his favorite wife. Imagine the impotence Kody must have felt listening to Robyn crying on the phone about being excluded and bullied and realizing he was totally locked out. This is the alpha male's worst fear: irrelevance. Robyn is now reportedly spinning this incident into a big storyline for the next season, or at least attempting to. We are hearing that she is telling friends and surviving allies that the OG3 are mean girls who are punishing her for loving Kody. She is using words like unsafe and hostile surroundings. But let's be real, this isn't bullying. This is a border. And if there is one thing Robyn Brown hates more than a budget meeting, it's a limit she cannot manipulate. By keeping her out, Janelle and the OG3 protected their peace. They guaranteed that the conversation didn't turn into a therapy session about Robyn's feelings. They kept the spotlight where it deserved, on the bride and the reunion. To fully appreciate why this reunion is so miraculous, we have to look at the context of the Meri and Janelle relationship. Newer watchers might not remember the dark ages of the Lehigh house or the early Vegas years. These 2 women didn't just dislike each other, They were fundamentally contradictory. Janelle is logical, straight, and non-confrontational. Mary is emotional, precise, and likes to think things out loud. They fought over how to clean the kitchen. They fought over how to manage the kids. They fought over the stairs. Kody used this pressure like a weapon. He would go to Janelle and complain about Mary's intensity, and Janelle would support him. He would go to Mary and complain about Janelle's detachment, and Mary would support him. He kept them in a state of perpetual Cold War, so they would never share notes on his behavior. The fact that they are now actually hugging, shows that the common enemy theory is true. The enemy was never Mary's cleaning standards or Janelle's apathy. The threat was the triangulation coming from the husband. This wedding and the events leading up to it seemed to have served as a massive eraser for those 30 years of petty grievances. We are thinking that Janelle, in her new happiness, realized that holding on to a grudge against Mary was just holding on to Kody's legacy. To truly move on, she had to forgive the other victims. And Mary, seeing Janelle thrive, understood that Janelle wasn't the one who abandoned her. Kody was. Now, let's talk about the mysterious impact of Janelle's new partner. We've referred to him, but his role in this OG3 reunion cannot be overstated. We are calling this the healthy male influence idea. For decades, the only model of manhood these women had was Kody. Chaos, selfishness, conditional love. Now, Janelle is allegedly with a man who is secure, calm, and supportive. Sources say that this new partner was confused by the family dynamics. He allegedly asked Janelle, "Why don't you talk to Mary? She seems lonely." It took an outsider, someone who hasn't been brainwashed by the principal, to point out the obvious. These women should be friends. There is a fascinating rumor getting traction that Janelle's boyfriend isn't just encouraging the friendship. He is constantly trying to help Mary back into the dating game. Can you imagine the new man in Janelle's life playing wingman for Mary Brown? This is the ultimate rejection of Kody. It says that a stranger cares more about Mary's romantic fulfillment than her spiritual husband ever did. We are hearing rumors that during the party, there was talk of setting Mary up. There was talk of getting her out there. And for the first time, Mary wasn't shutting it down with talk of loyalty or my why. She was listening. She was laughing. She was open to the idea that life exists after Kody. This brings us to Kody's response. While the women were toasting to freedom and Robyn was angry in the parking lot, what was the patriarch doing? He was online. If you track Kody's digital footprint around the time of this party, you see a trend of manic behavior. We saw reposts of alpha male lines. We saw bizarre gym selfies with comments about pain is weakness leaving the body. We saw vague, forceful posts about loyalty and traitors. This is not the behavior of a man who is happy for his exes. This is the behavior of a man who is falling. Kody's insecurity is triggered by one thing: loss of power. He could handle Christine going because he could paint her as the bad sister wife. He could handle Janelle going because he thought she'd come back. But he cannot handle them teaming up. And he certainly cannot handle Mary, his guaranteed backup plan, joining the rebellion. The viral picture of the three of them is a visual representation of his failure as a leader. He was supposed to lead them to heaven. Instead, he led them to each other, and they left him behind in hell. We also have to analyze the financial effects of this reunion. This is a follow the money issue. If the OG3 are talking, they are likely talking about funds. We know about the Fox Pass land. We know about the family pot. We know Robyn's house is the only big asset. If Mary, Janelle, and Christine align their legal teams, or even just share their financial records with each other, Kody and Robyn are in real trouble. Mary was the biggest addition to the family pot for years. Janelle was the CFO. If they combine Mary's earning history with Janelle's knowledge of where the money went, they could start a forensic accounting investigation that would expose everything. The party wasn't just a gathering, it was a peak. It was a war room disguised as a wedding shower. The laughing, the champagne, the hugs. That's the surface. Beneath the surface, the OG3 are building an alliance. And Robyn knows it. That is why she tried to get in. She needed to hear what they were saying. She needed to know if they were talking about the money. Being turned away at the gate didn't just hurt her feelings, it blinded her. She is now flying blind with no information on what the ex-wives are planning next. And what about the guests? Who else was there? We are hearing that several of the adult children were present, including some we haven't seen on TV in a while. The kids are the measure of the family. If the older children, Logan, Hunter, Aspen, even Leon, are rallying around this OG3 alliance, it isolates Kody and Robyn even further. We know the boys have problems with Kody. But if the children are seeing their mothers happy, united, and free from the poison, they are going to protect that peace at all costs. This reunion confirms the children's feelings. It tells them, you weren't crazy. It was bad, and we are fixing it. As the night wound down, sources say the atmosphere shifted from celebratory to deeply emotional. There was a moment late in the evening involving a video montage of the family's history. But, and this is key, reportedly every image of Kody was edited out. It was a montage of the mothers and the children. It was a rewriting of history, erasing the patriarch and leaving only the matriarchy. This is the ultimate act of defiance. They are reclaiming their memories. They are saying that the family exists without him. But the biggest question remains, is Meri truly safe? We know Meri has a pattern of going back. We know she struggles with loneliness. Robyn is a master manipulator. Is it possible that Robyn will call Meri tomorrow crying, claiming she was mistreated at the gate, and try to guilt Meri back into the fold? Or has the spell finally been broken? The hug suggests yes. The speech suggests yes. But we need to look at the days following the party to see if the alliance holds. The party lights have dimmed, the champagne flutes are dry, and the guests have returned to their lives, but the shockwaves from Janelle's bridal shower are only just beginning to register on the Erder scale of reality TV history. We are now moving into the immediate aftermath. The 48 hours following the viral photo release and the intelligence we are gathering paints a picture of a patriarch in total freefall. We need to talk about the call. According to sources deeply embedded in the Flagstaff rumor mill, approximately 2 days after the images of Meri, Janelle, and Christine hugging hit the internet, Kody Brown allegedly reached out to Meri. Now, typically Kody doesn't call Meri unless he needs something, a signature, a contribution to the family pot, or a scapegoat. But this time, the dynamic was different. He wasn't calling to ask, he was calling to accuse. We are hearing reports of a heated, one-sided conversation where Kody reportedly demanded to know why Meri was fraternizing with the enemy. Think about the psychology here. Kody Brown has spent years convincing Meri that Christine and Janelle were the reason he couldn't love her. He told her they were unsafe. He told her they were bad sister wives. By attending that party and giving that speech about wasted time, Meri didn't just attend a social event. She dismantled Kody's entire manipulation strategy. When Kody allegedly screamed, and sources say it was a scream, about loyalty, Meri's response was reportedly the coldest thing she has ever delivered. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She didn't offer to come over and talk. She simply hung up. That click of the phone line is the sound of the Kody Brown era ending. It signifies that his last holdout, his loyal soldier, has finally gone AWOL. But Kody isn't just losing his wives, he is losing the narrative war. And that brings us to the most exciting theory currently circulating among production insiders, the spin-off. TLC is a business. They look at numbers, not feelings, and the numbers are telling a very specific story. When Kody and Robyn are on screen, viewer engagement drops. Comments are negative. The audience is exhausted by the victimhood and the anger. But when Christine dates, when Janelle laughs, when Meri travels, the numbers soar. We have received exclusive tips suggesting that network executives are in early talks for a rebranding. The working title floating around the rumor mill is Sister Wives Aftermath, or simply The Sisterhood. The concept is terrifying for Robyn and Kody, a show that follows the lives of the three women as they navigate dating, grandparenting, and business with absolutely zero screen time for Kody Brown. Imagine the financial impact. Kody and Robyn rely on that TLC check to fund their lifestyle. The nanny, the art, the mansion, the jewelry. If the network decides that the villains are no longer necessary for the plot, the financial house gets turned off. This explains Robyn's desperate attempt to crash the party. She wasn't just trying to get into a shower. She was trying to get into the scene. She knows that if she isn't in the frame with the popular wives, she is irrelevant. Let's go back to the gate incident one last time to analyze the fallout for Robyn specifically. Since being turned away, Robyn has allegedly gone into overdrive, trying to control the damage. We are hearing that she is attempting to leak stories to friendly tabloids, painting the OG3 as mean girls who are excluding her innocent children. She is trying to weaponize the family culture argument, claiming that by excluding her, they are destroying the family for the grandkids. But this strategy is failing because the grandkids are adults now. They have phones. They have eyes. They know who calls them on their birthdays, and they know who doesn't. Robyn is isolated in that big house on the hill. The monogamy she claims she didn't want is exactly what she got. But it's a monogamy filled with resentment. She is stuck with an angry man who has no one else to blame but her. Before, he could blame Christine's attitude or Janelle's independence. Now, it's just Kody and Robyn. And when a narcissist runs out of scapegoats, they start eating their own. We predict that the next season, if there is one for them, will show the cracks forming between Kody and Robyn as the pressure of poverty and irrelevance sets in. Meanwhile, look at the contrast. The OG3 reunion isn't just about friendship, it's about business. We mentioned the financial investigation in the last segment, but let's expand on that. If this spin-off happens, Meri, Janelle, and Christine hold all the cards. They can negotiate contracts that explicitly exclude Kody from receiving a percentage of their earnings. For years, the money went into a family pot that Kody controlled. Those days are over. We are theorizing that Janelle, with her financial background, is already structuring a new LLC for the three of them, a production entity that protects their assets from Kody's legal reach. This is why the photo of them toasting is so powerful. It's not just champagne, it's victory fluid. They are celebrating the fact that they survived. They survived the emotional neglect. They survived the financial abuse. They survived the gaslighting, and they did it together. The irony is poetic. Kody wanted a patriarchy where he was the sun and they were the planets. Instead, he created a solar system that ejected the sun and found a way to orbit each other. There is also a deeply personal element to this for Meri. For years, she was the outcast. The fans begged her to leave. The other wives didn't trust her. This reunion is her redemption arc. By embracing Janelle and Christine, she is admitting she was wrong to trust Kody, and the audience is ready to forgive her. The comments on the viral photo are 99% positive for Meri. Finally, they say she woke up. This public validation is a drug. And now that Meri has tasted it, she will never go back to being Kody's doormat. So, what is the final verdict? Is this the end of the Brown family? Yes and no. The Brown family, as defined by Kody, the patriarchal oppressive structure, is dead. It died at the gate of that venue when Robyn was turned away. But the Brown family as a matriarchy, it is stronger than ever. The mothers and the children are united. The text threads are active. The holidays are being planned. They just aren't inviting the man who made them miserable. We have to ask ourselves, has Meri finally realized the extent of Robyn and Kody's manipulation? The answer, based on our investigation, is a resounding yes. The tears in her eyes in that photo were the final cleansing of the illusion. She knows. She knows Robyn never advocated for her. She knows Kody never loved her. And in that knowledge, she found power. The OG3 reunion is the beginning of a new chapter, not just for the family, but for reality TV. It proves that you can break free from a cult-like dynamic and thrive. It proves that women, when they stop competing for the attention of a mediocre man, are an unstoppable force. Kody Brown is posting gym selfies to prove he is an alpha. These women are signing contracts, raising children, and building empires. You tell me who the real alphas are. This story is developing rapidly. We are expecting a formal announcement from TLC regarding the filming schedule for the next season within the month. Will Kody be demoted to a friend of role? Will Robyn be cut entirely? And will we finally get the televised sit-down conversation between Meri, Janelle, and Christine where they spill everything? My sources say yes. The cameras were rolling. Not TLC's cameras, but personal cameras documenting the real history for a future project. The revolution will be televised. But Kody Brown won't be the star. He will be the cautionary tale. I want to hear from you. Look at the evidence we presented today. The photo, the speech about wasted time, the rejection of Robyn at the gate. Do you think Kody can ever recover from this? Or is he destined to fade into obscurity while his ex-wives become icons? And more importantly, would you watch a spin-off that is just the OG3 and their new lives? Drop a comment below with Team OG3 if you are ready for the new era, or Team Kody if you think he still has a chance, though I doubt many of you will pick that side. Make sure you are subscribed to Coco Gossip and hit that notification bell. We have agents in the field right now digging into the property records of Coyote Pass, and you do not want to miss what they found. The truth is coming, and it's juicier than we ever imagined. Until next time, keep your eyes open because the tea is piping hot.